I'm going to demonstrate how to take the photograph that you took of your still life and map out the location of the objects on your final page. Since you specifically created this composition, we want to keep the composition the same on our final paper. I'm working from a smaller image to a larger image. You will most likely be working from an image and keeping it the same size, which will make your life even easier. All right, so what I'm going to do is you're welcome to make a full grid as shown in the previous video, although I think it will be sufficient to just draw crosshairs. So I do want to find the center to make sure these crosshairs are centered. So I already drew them on my image, so I'm going to now draw them here on my paper. So it looks like my paper is 9.5 inches wide. So that's going to be, I'm going to mark off 4 3/4, which is the halfway at the bottom. I'm also going to mark off 4 3/4 at the top. This will ensure that this line is straight, and I'm going to make this line nice and light. It will ultimately be erased because we don't really want to be able to see these. Okay. I'm also going to find the halfway point vertically. So this is 7.5 inches. So 3.5, 3 3/4. Do a little simple math. Okay, 3 3/4 over here. Connect those, and I've got my simple crosshairs. Okay, so those are going to help me to guide where the objects go. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just marking off where things are. So I'm going to mark off, I notice this chess piece here looks like it is about not quite halfway here. It's a little bit, I would say it's a little bit closer to this line here. So I'm just sort of estimating. I'm going to say it's about here. And I notice the top of the chess piece goes right under that center line. It's a little bit hard to see because it's a dark image. So the top of the chess piece is going to go right about here. Okay, and I'm just going to draw myself a vertical line. So this is all I'm drawing for the chess piece right now. It kind of shows me where it's going to go, how tall it is, and then I'll move on to my next object. One way, so besides using the grid lines to show us where things are, we can also see what is the relationship of one object to the next object. So what I would do for that is I actually like to draw a line, and I'm seeing where that chess piece, how does it relate to this chess piece? And it's sort of a diagonal line like this. I don't know if you can see that, hopefully. It's a little hard to see on there. But I'm going to take that same diagonal line, I can use a ruler if I want. So I'm getting that line, and I can translate that over by very carefully dragging this over and keeping the angle the same, like so. And then that line is going to help guide where the top of this next chess piece goes. Okay, so I know that the bottom of it is right about here on my grid line, looking at that. The top of it, the top corner of it, is going to be somewhere around here. Okay, so I can sort of mark that. Also notice this chess piece is slanted, so I can take that ruler again and see what is that angle that the chess piece is going at. So I'm going to take that, I'm checking the angle, I can even draw it on here if I want, draw a line, and then translate that same angle over to here, and that is the angle of that chess piece. And so you might have objects that are not quite standing up straight, which will probably be more interesting. So you can always check the angles. Okay, I know the bottom and the top of the chess piece have to be perpendicular to the body of it. Okay, so we can mark that. All right, I'm gonna see, I see the cone goes to the very top of the page. I notice it also touches this chess piece here, so it's going to be somewhere about here. It's going straight up and down, so I'm going to just go ahead and draw a vertical. And the bottom of it looks to be, it's hard to actually see here, looks to be about here, which is, I would say, about halfway from this grid line to the bottom. So about here, so about where I have it. Okay, so I'm going to mark off where the bottom of that is. I noticed this, I don't know what that shape is called, it's not a cube. It's right about here. It's below the bottom of my cone. And let's notice too the angle here. Okay, so this angle here, once again, I can take my ruler. You can also always do this with a pencil. You can do it with any straight edge, but I want to know the angle, the bottom of that. It's angled up like this. Okay, it's about here. I can check any of those angles to kind of draw that. I guess I'm getting a little more detailed with this, actually drawing the form. This is angling. I'll use just to show you can use the pencil rather than the ruler, it'll work fine. It's going to be that sort of angle. This, surprisingly, is straight up and down. Have this angle. So there's a lot of angle checking. This is a super, super useful tool that if you were in person, I would be showing you how to do it live, but in the meantime, doing this from a photograph will work fine. Okay, and then the top of the cube, you might recall, we'll actually use that 2-point perspective to know how to draw the top of that. So this is going towards that vanishing point, and this top is going towards a vanishing point over here. Okay, so there we go. There's one more form in here that I'd want to draw. So you know, I know the top of it is right here, right under this chess piece. I'm going to just sort of lightly mark off where that is. Somewhere here. Oops. I'm noticing it needs to end before the bottom of this piece. Okay. So I'm always sort of comparing where things are in relationship to each other. That's what's going to make your still life appear accurate. Okay. All right, so there I have mapped out where my objects are pretty accurately. And from there, I would be able to erase guidelines and start to actually draw the objects. Okay, but we want to get it, if you don't have it in the right place and you start to draw it, it's going to be quite disappointing when you have to move things that you've drawn carefully. So I'll show you how to draw them next.